your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm David Marino, and today we are joined by Ben Moody. He's the co-founder of Blue Goggles Films. He's a writer-director based here in Austin, and we're very happy to have you today. Thank you, Ben.
No, thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, when we talk about film in Austin, obviously it's an area where a lot of filmmakers make movies, they live. For you, what was the inspiration in getting in the film industry? What really was the thing that propelled you to move forward in it?
I'd say being taken to see the original Batman in the theater, like in as a little kid, that kind of blew my mind. And then, inspired my love for movies and going to the movies. And then I've kind of discovered these weird books. I think they're called the Crenshaw horror books. They were at the library in my elementary school, and I grew up in the sticks of Maine. I don't know why they had these weird horror books there, but they were all about the Universal monsters and the sort of behind the scenes making of them. And that, when I opened those up, in elementary school and just saw the people doing the makeup on monsters and just the cameras behind the scenes and the sets and everything, I was like, what is this? I want to do this. Or that really, I think, was the seedling to that pushed me to keep pursuing it throughout my entire life, basically. So I don't know. Yeah, it has been a lifelong thing and dream to just make movies since seeing those books, I guess.
And there's so much work that goes into it, right? I mean, there's your process, writer, director, there's the special effects, depending on what kind of film you're doing. And a lot of what you do some horror movies, right? And how would you describe your, I don't know that you can really say that you're in one genre, but what is sort of what would you say is your passion in terms of film and what type of films you like to be a part of?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's the thing, and within the industry, you say oh, I guess I'm a genre filmmaker. But then anyone not in the industry is what does that mean? Because there's genre festivals that and basically that's sci-fi, horror, action, kind of I guess I would me and my wife, who is my partner in all this film stuff. It's I don't think we'll ever do a Hallmark movie. And so
That's awesome.
That's probably I don't know if I would go there, but any other genre, I guess I'm pretty happy to play in, and I enjoy watching. My thing with what I want to make is I just always want to make something I would watch. So I do most genres. So I'm pretty open to anything right now. We're I guess kind of in the horror space, because that's just sort of where we fell into as far as what inspired us in recent years to really push into the feature film world. So yeah, I guess right now we're in horror, but yeah, I would like to play in some other spaces. I like mixing horror with other genres. That's fun.
And we're going to get your wife on here next time we do an interview because she, as you said, is the co-founder and she's also a producer as well with you, right? Can you talk about your sort of collaborative relationship?
Yeah, I mean, no, nothing would happen without Rachel. I mean, you talk to anyone that's worked with us, Rachel is the brains. I'm just the crazy guy being what if this person stabbed this person on camera? They would be cool. And she's all right, well, how would we do that? And she's the logistics person to get everything together. I kicked the mic, sorry. But no, a lot of times, Last Girl Standing, our first feature film. We'd done a ton of shorts, but that was, we had just we'd been trying to figure out what was going to be our first feature. And it was we just had a kid, so we were home in October, and we just started watching a bunch of horror movies, and I just had this random idea, and most of them, I pitch them to her, and she says yay or nay on, it's either I don't think that's very good. I'm it's kind of when you wake up from having a dream, and you write a dream down. It's or in your head, you're this is going to be the best movie ever. Then you get up and you write it down. It's oh wait, this is really stupid. Rachel's kind of that like litmus test for me to figure out what is worth pursuing and what isn't. And so it starts very early, and with our like collaborating on a project, and then then it just as it goes along, like she's always asking the right questions to make sure something's filmable, or like that the, oh well, she questions character. I mean she's there with the creative process the entire time, up through editing and delivering it to the client, like a distributor at the end. Like she helped, she's from the beginning. And then what happened? Then like on Last Girl, she's with me at the bitter end, doing captioning, like us, me and her, like going through the movie frame by frame and putting in the subtitle markers and everything. So she's there the entire time. So which is helpful as a director, because there are a lot of points in the process that can be lonely or like you feel like very isolated, but like she helps me not feel that way most of the time.
And speaking about Last Girl Standing being your first feature film, I watched it and I loved it because, as I told you before the interview started, I love scary movies. I grew up on, as you did, the 80s sort of slasher flicks. So it kind of is a take on that, but it really kind of flips the script in terms of what you think of with those, the slasher type movies. Can you talk about the film a little and how you sort of kind of turned it around in terms of how it develops?
Yeah. And going back to we trying to figure out our first movie. We had just had a kid. I think he was under 7 days old, but because it was late October, we just started watching. That we're turning on a bunch of horror movies and just watching him because he's a baby, he's a newborn, he's not seeing anything. So we're like, we can watch anything right now, and he just sleeps most of the time. But it was literally, I think we'd ordered pizza or something, and I just turned on. AMC was having a Friday the 13th marathon, and those are like that's probably my favorite slasher franchise. But like we turned it on at the end of part 3, and so we just caught the final girl defeating Jason, and then the cops pulling up, and like her just like being like a shattered shell of a person that she was at the beginning of the movie. But like just turning it on at that moment, and then the credits rolled for the end of that movie, I was like, what if we started here and then just picked up with that character like 5 years later? And within a half hour, I just kind of hashed out this idea with Rachel of just bouncing like, oh, where would you go with it? And like, what could you do? And we found it really fascinating and something you don't see very often, and something that we could do because it would be kind of a more dramatic take on the horror genre.
Where are the others? We have to find them.
No, we need to find help.
What about Walt and Lizzie and...
Walt didn't make it.
I remember hearing about this in high school. You're the one that survived. You killed him. You saved lives.
Just not my friends.
If it wasn't for you, more people would have died.
You, Nick, Maylin, you're all in danger because of me. Cameron, is that you? What the f- No! No, I won't let it happen again!
You gotta tell us what's going on.
I know he's coming for you.
So he's come back to life?
I wanted to save them this time. You can't do this! Yes, I can. This is closure. I'm done running. I don't care how many times I have to kill you!
Most of those slasher flicks build up to the moment where they defeat the killer or that major point in the film. And so starting out with such a like that moment of the climax that's supposed to be of a movie, was it a when you thought about that, was it a challenge for you? Because usually when people go to a film like that, they're waiting for that, but you started with it. So sort of being able to keep the audience engaged after that.
Mhm.
And I found that I was engaged
Okay.
because there was a twist, and I won't give that away because I want people to go watch it. There was a twist in the film, but the fact that you were able to maintain that sort of suspense throughout, even though you started with the climax, was that something for you that you wanted to take on in that challenge? Did you think of it that way, or what was your thought process?
No, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was always in the back of my mind as far as like, yeah, are people after the big murder spree at the beginning? Are people going to be engaged? And like yes, that's why like yeah, there is a lot of like things do start to happen within the movie pretty quickly because I didn't want to make a like there is a pitfall for a lot of indie horror or just indie filmmaking of like you don't have resources, so the movies get boring, and like I was very aware of that, maybe even too aware. Like, and so I wanted to make sure it was engaging. So like, was like trying to be like, all right, once we get her normal life set up, of like here's her routine, I wanted to throw a wrench in it pretty quickly so that it would be like okay, like something else is gonna happen again, or you know, so like how and yeah, it was a the other strength that I had in my corner was Akasha Villalobos, the actress, and that was a goal for me. Was like if I'm going to do this story, I want it to have an actress that can hold the movie and hold people's attention. And so basically, like I said, like came up with a movie pretty quickly after that moment, and then I think within 2 weeks I had a treatment, and I pitched it to Akasha before even writing it because I was like, I don't know if I could do it without her. She's been a friend of ours and in a couple of our shorts, and because I knew the importance of like yeah, the audience being engaged early on and staying with her when we're out of the horror stuff. Because you're out of the horror stuff, yeah, after the first 5 minutes for a stint, and I thought like we need someone like Akasha to keep people's interest because she's so you just yeah you lock eyes with her and you empathize with her and you just want to engage and see what she's all about. So like yeah, that was a big thing for me. That kind of at least it put me at ease knowing I had Akasha. Once I did like in that role, it was like okay, like I'll be in good hands with her. If that makes sense.
And if people want to watch the film, where can they go to find Last Girl Standing?
Where did you watch it last night?
I watched it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So is it on Prime right? Again,
Yeah,
like yeah,
it's
it goes on and off Prime periodically. So
Yeah.
like yeah, I guess right now it's on Amazon Prime. I think it's on Apple. So yeah, like yeah, if you watch it right now, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it is on Amazon Prime because that's where I watched
Yep.
it.
It is. Yeah, there is a DVD. I'm not sure how many are left, but yeah, there is a DVD out there.
And it won several awards, right? When it came out.
Yeah, on the festival circuit, we won a couple awards. I got a couple, but I was most happy when Akasha got a couple. That made me like warm and fuzzy because again, I knew she was amazing, and that's why I wanted to make the movie. But like, yeah, just seeing that other people recognize her was really gratifying.
She did a great, awesome
Yeah.
job. She was a true final girl.
Yes.
I loved it. So I can't recommend that movie more, Last Girl Standing, if you haven't seen it. And I do feel like you accomplished your goals in that as a viewer.
Oh,
you
good.
know,
No,
I
thank
really
you.
loved it. So for you, where was the beginning in the industry? How did you start out? What was your first project? What got you to, you know, kind of where you are now, where you're with your wife, you co-founded your film company, but what was the first step in that process?
I guess in it was in 2002. I dropped out of film school and moved to Los Angeles, and I guess my first industry job was I was a runner at a post-production trailer house. So we were cutting movie trailers. Yeah, I remember like we were doing. I think we did some TV spots for like Harry Potter 3, I think it was. So like I think like that was kind of like I'm in the industry now. I'm working on a Harry Potter movie in the post-production commercial side of things. But yeah, that was I guess my first foray into the industry officially. I slowly worked my way up to like I started cutting things there. Like I cut the Batman Begins video game web spots, and then I moved to another kind of video game oriented game like post production place where we cut interviews and did I did a my claim to fame there was I did all it was basically like an hour and a half Legend of Zelda retrospective. I mean, we released it in like 20-minute blocks, but it turned out to be an hour and a half thing. That was, I mean, again, this was like pre YouTube. We were doing these video game stuff, and so that was kind of where I started getting into more long form things. But it was all like post production. I was all editing. I mean, I would do writing on those like projects, but it wasn't until honestly like we after LA we went to New Zealand and we kind of just spitballed there for a bit. Like I just started writing more, and then when we came to Austin, we really found a community here that inspired us to make films, and that's when we started with short films. And like I say, like in LA, I made one short film in my 5 years there, and within my first 5 years in Austin, I'd made I think close to 30 shorts and a feature film by that point too, almost.
Wow,
So
that's a lot.
I like my output more in Austin than anywhere else. But again, I attribute that to the people here. They're very inspiring, and yeah, it just made us be like, oh, people like doing this here.
And it seems like a very tight knit community in Austin. The film,
Yeah,
whether
no.
actors, directors,
Yeah,
writers.
and again, I don't think it's tight knit in a negative way. It's just everyone knows each other, and it's a lot of fun. And because then you start to see people, and it's like, oh, like who's this person? And I'll know someone that knows that person, so they can introduce me, and like that's a lot of fun and freeing because it's just like it's exciting. Because in LA, it's like, oh, that person's really good. Oh, they're really famous. How am I gonna get to them? And in here, it's like it's just fun to like see talented people and be within reach of like, hey, like, do you want to work on something? And generally be like, yeah, hell yeah, because everyone's more excited here. The thing in LA that I didn't like about indie filmmaking was everyone in LA has to have a super serious job, and so you work a ton. And then when it comes to the weekend and wanting to make something with your friends, it's like, I don't want to drive there on the weekend to shoot something else. I've been working all week, and so it is harder to get excited to make things on your own in LA. Whereas here, everyone is super excited to work on stuff, and so it just breeds more creativity.
And some of the other films that you've done, you said you've done some shorts, a number of shorts, and I was looking on your website. Some of those are based on video games, right? Or could you kind of give the audience an idea of what they'll see if they see some of your shorts?
Yeah, I guess a lot of the shorts that we did were for it was like for YouTube, and then some were for this website, Game Trailers, and like, but yeah, it was like coming out of LA. I'd been in the game industry as far as like in the trailer industry. And so, like, I guess I was in the video game world, and in the early, that was back in like 2010, 2011, when it was like, let's start making shorts. It was kind of like the video game thing just had like, it gave us like at least an instant audience so the shorts would get seen.
Come on, this is Echo City. Echo City is lost. There's been some kind of biological attack on the city. All the residents here are turning to monsters. We can't fend them off anymore. There's also some other unit here, heavily armed. They're enemy soldiers. They're engaging us. We'll get one of the samples off of one of the creatures, but before we can fall back.
Come on.
And it was a way to just throwing them out on YouTube or Game Trailers is a way to like get them out in the world faster. The thing you do a short, send it to a festival, like you're casting. It could be like a couple of years before it sees the light of day in the public. But like, and I guess I wasn't ready for like that much of a commitment. I wanted to do things like. I just wanted to like make stuff. The gaming angle is like, well, let's do these and throw them online. They'll find an audience because the game is there. And it was I call it like, we had like a 1.5 year boot camp. Like in a 1.5 year, we made 15 shorts. We made one short a month. And like that kind of created this boot camp like atmosphere of like, as far as like, okay, we got to write this script. We need to cast it. We need to find location. Then we got to make it. Then I got to go through post all in 4 weeks. And that's when we found like the majority of our what we call our Blue Goggles family. And it was just like, yeah, we became this little unit of making these shorts. And again, it was gratifying for everyone because again, they were getting out in the world. And this was early YouTube, so like that was still like now everyone knows how to make stuff and put it online. We were like kind of doing it early enough that it was still novel. But like again, like yeah, they all have a special place in my heart. But yeah, it was a learning ground for me. Like I said, I dropped out of film school, so I lost a lot of that. Like I did 3 semesters. I didn't go through the 4-year program. So I like to think of like, yeah, that boot camp of making 15 shorts in 15 months was the tail end of my film school, me picking up and finishing film school.
Well, I have to imagine that's gratifying to be able to get that much material out, like you said,
Yeah.
to the public,
Yeah.
whatever form it is, whether
Right.
it's online or
Yeah,
however.
again, it's just fun. As an artist, you want people to see your stuff. And again, that's the tough thing in the indie world is just getting it out into the world, especially with a feature. Again, there are more avenues now, and they're continually opening up. But like, yeah, it's still tough.
Take whatever you want. Money's in the register. I don't want any trouble.
Rachel and I had made a couple things where it was literally just her and I on set, and like I was the cameraman, and she was the only like person on set too with the actors, and like that was fun for a minute, but it was clear I just bringing in more people, like the quality of our stuff jumped because everyone brings their talents to the different fields, and as soon as we started doing that, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Our stuff's getting so much better when we're including people like Jason or our DP like Travis. And it was just like, that was the inspiring thing to keep doing stuff, was the more people we worked with and to see them flourish and show their talents just made me want to give them spaces to do what they love just as much as I'm doing what I love. So.
And are most of those shot in Austin or Central Texas?
Yeah, we haven't ventured out yet, I guess, because
But Austin's like a perfect place to film, and there's so many locations.
Yes, I know, and that's what and especially the early, again, in 2010, 2011, we'd go to an auto mechanic place and be like, hey, can we shoot in your garage at night? And they would look at us and be like, sure. And I'm like, how much do you want? And they're like, can you give the guy like a 12-pack of beer that's going to be here with you?
Which is great as an indie filmmaker,
Yes.
not to have to spend a ton of money because that can be expensive.
Yeah, and that's the thing with filming in LA. You literally, you can't, filming on the street, you have to be so guerrilla because, it's just permit. Austin is a lot more flexible.
What is your next step in terms of projects? Are you working on another feature film? Or are you doing, I imagine you're probably doing a combination of things, right?
Yeah, again, features is what my ultimate, that's what I love. So no, we have a couple new features that are the scripts are done and they're we're talking to people about those. That's kind of Rachel's department. I'm now to kind of preoccupy my head because I need something to do. I'm now I'm back in the writing room again. So but yeah, features and like I said, mostly genre-oriented features is where I want to live for the next little stint.
Kind of like horror still?
Yeah, most of them are horror-related or horror-adjacent. So I don't rom-com. I don't think I'm doing that anytime soon.
Which is cool. You could do like a rom-com horror.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Have you seen Anna and the Apocalypse?
I haven't.
No, it's a rom-com zombie musical.
See, that would be awesome. I need to
set
see
in high school. Yeah, and it's a Christmas movie, so it's everything. It's a delightful movie.
So, people want to learn more about Blue Goggles Films. Where can they go to find that information and to see some of your work?
I think most of it's on, at least linked to the bluegogglesfilms.com. We have a YouTube channel, Blue Goggles Films, where most of our shorts are. And then I guess I'm on the Twitter. I'm at blue_goggles is my Twitter handle. So like, yeah, I'm on there, troll, like hanging out.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's I guess where I am.
Is there anything else that you want to add or that to get out there to the public just about your movies or anything that you want people to be aware of?
If you're into like indie film and stuff, just watch it, give it good reviews on Amazon and Apple and iTunes and stuff. Like that helps filmmakers incredibly. Share it on social media. Like I said, there's so much content out there. It is daunting, and so like for everyone, audience members to be championing little movies, it really helps the little guys like us. So no, that'd be huge for people to do. That's my plug. Anything you like, I don't, even if it's not mine or otherwise, like just champion the movies you like. That really helps filmmakers.
Going through the process of getting funding, like, is there a way people can help with that, or like, what is the process when it comes to trying to get a film, like a feature film, like Last Girl Standing, funded? Because I would imagine that's the probably one of the most challenging parts.
Yes, and and again, I am very transparent about that stuff because again, like I hate it does. Yeah, this information is hard to find, and I'm like full transparency. I'm still learning that part. Last Girl was completely self-funded, so like that was just because no one. Not the problem, but no one's gonna bet on you when you don't have a track record, and so Rachel and I decided to bet on ourselves. And again, we were lucky enough that it panned out. But that still doesn't, like, I guess the misconception I had was that, oh, it panned out. Okay, so the next one's going to be easier. And it's like, no, it's still hard. So, like, we're still in that process of, like, betting on ourselves to some extent to make the next one. And you just have to be realistic about that. And work within your means. To go with Austin theme, everyone calls it the Rodriguez list. When I'm developing a project, I create a Rodriguez list, and what that is I try to write down the assets that I know I have access to. And again, with Last Girl, it was like I had great actors that I have access to. I had a field and forest, so I knew I could write that into the script. So like that was. And as a true indie filmmaker, if you are one, like that's kind of, I think, super important to, because again, it's hard to get someone to bet on you when you haven't done anything. So, and it's even hard to get someone to bet on you when you've done one small thing. So be flexible and resilient. You got to take 1,000 no's. And even if you keep getting no's, like, will you give yourself a yes to push forward and do something on your own? So.